One of the first ones I wanted to talk about, and it's a biggie, is the parking issue. Now, parking for trucks east of the Mississippi at night has been an issue for, the last 15, 20 years anyway. Lately, finding a spot, even in the big truck stops west of the Mississippi, is becoming a problem. Washington has known that this problem has existed for the last 15 years. For 15 years, they've been studying it. And what have they done? Butkus. One of the things Operation Black and Blue is going to take to Washington is the question, what are we going to do about this parking issue? We need an answer, and we need it now. We don't need another study. You already know it's a problem. We need a solution. You've had all sorts of time to study this problem. What have you come up with? And Washington, of course, won't have come up with an answer. They'll just, leave it with us. We'll study on the problem. We'll get back to you. So I propose that after they take it to Washington and Washington comes back with a no solid answer, which is what they're going to do, and they say, when can we get the trucks running again? The meetings are over. We've met with you guys. It's been nice talking to you. When's the freight going to start getting delivered? And we can say, in response to that, we don't really know. We'll commission a study, and we'll get back to you and just give them the same thing that they've been giving us, these anti-idling laws. And I can understand the point behind these anti-idling laws. They don't want air pollution and they don't want the noise and this and that, and I can accept that, and that's fine. So I think the answer for this problem has got to fall back on the carriers. So if the trucks are operating in anti-idling states, I say it's up to the carrier to provide a solution for that, be it equipping all the trucks that operate in these states with a generator or a battery-driven heating and cooling system or a Webasto system or whatever works. But they need to be able to keep their drivers comfortable. Certainly the driver can expect this in his own home to be comfortable. He's already sleeping in a little tin can behind the cab, so it's already less comfortable than home. The least they can do is provide him with the proper temperature for a decent night's sleep. And if they can't equip the trucks, if they're not prepared to equip the trucks in this manner with some sort of equipment, well then, I think by law they ought to be mandated to supply their drivers with hotel rooms, and not flea bag joints either. Decent 3-star or better hotels, because they don't live in Motel Sticks when they're at home, so why should they be expected to live in a dump when they're on the road? These carriers have got to pony up and belly up to the bar and provide equipment on these trucks so these drivers can stay comfortable. This business about shutting off the truck to save fuel and letting the driver freeze to death all night, that's inhumane and it's probably illegal. No more of that. So they're going to take that to Washington as well. And I'm all for this because I'm a big carb hater, is to repeal carb. Trucks are an easy target for carb, and the onus has fallen on the trucks to cut their emission standards. And, it's easy for these guys to get out there in a bunch of cars and pull trucks over. Wait for them at the scales or whatever, the ports of entry. Are they patrolling the emissions coming into these big ports by the ships coming into Long Beach and Oakland? No, they're not. Are they patrolling the 15 million cars in California for emission standards? No, they're not. Are they watching the factory stacks and patrolling them? No, they're not. The only ones CARB is attacking are the trucks. And that's discriminatory. I know that a lot of you guys out there are going to be hesitant to join this protest. And we're not saying, hey, join us in Washington and make a big long picket line or anything like that. What Operation Black and Blue is saying is, love to see you in Washington if you can make it. But if you can't, we understand. But just take that time off, October 3rd to the 8th. Just take those days off, go home, and spend them with your family. And a lot of you guys would be thinking, geez, I can't really afford to do that. And my answer to that is, you can't really afford not to do it. if we don't put up some form of protest and do it right away, nothing is going to change. And we're going to slide progressively lower and lower on the income scale. The cost of living goes up every year. You know that as well as I do. Nothing ever gets cheaper. The groceries, the cost of your kids' braces, whatever it is, those costs are going to keep going up. And our wages have to go up with that cost of living. And they've been frozen for the last 20 years as the cost of living keeps getting higher. And we can't wait any longer. So you don't think we can afford to protest right now? We can't afford not to protest right now, because if we don't do it now, it'll never get done. And if we don't do it now, we've got to be prepared to starve in poverty, because that's what it's going to end up being in another 5 years. We're at the bottom of the pail now. We can't get any lower. So we need to do this, and we need to do this now. So October 3rd to the 8th, stay home with your families. Just don't move the freight, and get the message to Washington that we need some solutions. Not studies, solutions, immediate solutions to the problems we have out here on the highway with the ELDs, with the anti-idling, with the no parking. All these things need to be addressed, and we just can't afford to wait any longer. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting for years on some of this stuff, and nothing gets done. We're not going to wait any longer. It's got to be addressed now, today. So get on it, Washington, because we're waiting for an answer here. I'm all riled up again. Drivers, be careful out there. And I will see you on the flip side. Take care.